"Can I sit here?" the black single dad asked. "Only if you eat with me," the billionaire CEO replied. Fletcher Wade sat on a bench in Portland's waterfront park, watching his 7-year-old daughter Iris feed ducks at the pond. The October afternoon was crisp and beautiful, one of those rare Pacific Northwest days when the sun actually broke through the clouds. Fletcher had picked Iris up from school early, a luxury he could rarely afford as a graphic designer working contract jobs to maintain custody flexibility, just to enjoy this perfect weather. "Daddy, this duck is limping. I think he's hurt," Iris called out, her voice full of concern that made Fletcher's heart swell with pride. His daughter had inherited his tendency to notice creatures others overlooked. "Give him the bread gently, baby girl. Sometimes kindness is the best medicine." Fletcher pulled out his sketch pad, always nearby, and began drawing Iris and the ducks, capturing this moment he wanted to remember. At 33, Fletcher had learned to treasure simple joys. After a brutal divorce from his ex-wife Celeste 2 years ago, after fighting for custody while being questioned at every turn about whether a single black father could properly care for a daughter, after rebuilding his life from financial devastation, moments like this were everything. He was so absorbed in his sketch that he didn't notice the woman approaching until her shadow fell across his page. "Can I sit here?" Fletcher looked up, startled. The woman was striking, probably late 30s. Blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, athletic build and expensive athleisure wear that screamed money. Designer sunglasses, Apple Watch that probably cost more than his rent. The kind of woman who made Fletcher immediately defensive, because wealthy white women in Portland had a history of calling the police on black men for existing in public spaces. "It's a public bench," Fletcher said carefully, neutral tone hiding his wariness. "I know, but I'm asking permission anyway, because that's polite." She smiled, genuine, warm, slightly sad, and something in Fletcher's defensive wall cracked slightly. "Sure, it's a free country." The woman sat not too close, respecting his space. For a moment, they sat in silence. Then she spoke again. "Your daughter? She's beautiful. You're lucky." Fletcher's guard went up immediately. "Thank you. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable, I just—" She stopped, seeming to gather courage. "I've been sitting in my office all day, making billion-dollar decisions that affect thousands of people, and I suddenly couldn't stand it anymore. I needed to be around real life, real people. I saw you drawing and your daughter feeding ducks, and I thought, that's what happiness looks like. So I came over here like a creep who apparently needs to learn boundaries." Fletcher blinked, processing. "Billion-dollar decisions? I'm Ainsley Thorne. I run Thorne Industries, tech company. We do cloud infrastructure, data security, that sort of thing." She said it matter-of-factly, without bragging. "And before you wonder why a billionaire CEO is sitting on a park bench talking to a stranger, it's because I'm incredibly lonely and possibly having a mental breakdown." The honesty was so unexpected that Fletcher actually laughed. "Well, at least you're self-aware about it. Therapy helps. My therapist, Dr. Ramona Pierce, keeps telling me I need to connect with people outside my work bubble, make genuine human connections. But it turns out that's really hard when you're a CEO. Everyone either wants something from you or is intimidated by you or—" She stopped. "I'm rambling. Sorry. You were having a nice afternoon before I invaded it. It's okay." And surprisingly, it was. There was something genuine about this woman's awkwardness, something vulnerable that made Fletcher's assumptions about rich white women feel unfair. "I'm Fletcher Wade, graphic designer, single dad, currently unemployed by choice because I wanted to spend the afternoon with my daughter." "That's beautiful, that you prioritize her like that. Not everyone thinks so. My ex-wife's lawyer tried to use my unstable employment as evidence I wasn't fit for primary custody." Ainsley's expression hardened. "That's garbage. Being present for your child is the opposite of unstable. It's the most stable thing you can be." Fletcher found himself warming to her. "You said you're lonely. How is that possible? You're a billionaire. You could have anyone." "Could I?" Ainsley's blue eyes met his directly. "Fletcher, can I be completely honest with you? I haven't had a genuine conversation in months, maybe years. Everyone I talk to wants something. Investors want funding. Employees want promotions. My family wants money. Men want a trophy wife. Women want a network. Nobody just wants to know me, Ainsley, the person. So you ambush strangers in parks? Apparently. It's a new strategy." She smiled self-deprecatingly. "I know this is weird. I know I'm probably making you uncomfortable, but Fletcher, I saw you drawing, and I was curious. And then you seemed kind when you talked to your daughter, and I wanted to be around kindness for a few minutes. Is that crazy? Maybe a little, but crazy isn't always bad. Iris ran over, breathless. Daddy, I'm hungry. Can we get pizza? Sure, baby girl. Let me pack up and... Only if you eat with me, Ainsley interrupted, looking at Fletcher with hopeful eyes. Please, I'll buy pizza for all three of us. Not because I'm trying to show off my money, but because I haven't eaten with real people in so long. Because your daughter seems wonderful, and you seem interesting, and I'm desperate for normal human interaction. Fletcher should have said no. Every instinct told him this was weird, potentially dangerous, definitely complicated. Rich white women didn't just buy pizza for random black men they met in parks. This had to be some kind of setup or social experiment But Iris was looking at Ainsley with curious, open interest. And there was something in Ainsley's expression, raw loneliness, genuine hope, that Fletcher recognized because he'd felt it himself in the dark months after his divorce. Okay, Fletcher heard himself say. Pizza, but I'm picking the place. Somewhere normal, not whatever five-star restaurant you probably prefer. Perfect. I haven't been to a normal restaurant in years. My assistant Blythe schedules all my meals. Your assistant schedules your meals? I told you. My life is insane. Ainsley stood, extending her hand. Thank you, Fletcher, for giving a weird billionaire a chance. Fletcher shook her hand, feeling the warmth of her grip, seeing the genuine gratitude in her eyes. Don't make me regret this. I'll do my best. Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into this beautiful love story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Do you believe love can truly conquer prejudice? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep spreading love. They ended up at Pizzicato, a casual spot in the Pearl District that Fletcher frequented. Ainsley insisted on ordering everything Iris wanted: pepperoni pizza, breadsticks, and a chocolate shake, and seemed genuinely delighted when Iris chatted enthusiastically about her school, her friends, and the injured duck. His name is Mr. Quackers, and he's very brave, Iris explained seriously. Most ducks run away when you get close, but Mr. Quackers lets me feed him because he knows I'm trying to help. That's a good lesson, Ainsley said. Sometimes accepting help is braver than pretending you don't need it. Fletcher watched Ainsley interact with his daughter. No condescension, no performative interest, just genuine engagement. It disarmed him further. After Iris got distracted by the restaurant's vintage arcade game, Ainsley turned to Fletcher. Can I ask you something personal? You're buying me pizza. I guess that earns you one personal question. Why did you look so suspicious when I first sat down? And please be honest. Fletcher considered deflecting, then decided honesty was fair. Because wealthy white women in Portland have a habit of calling the police on black men for existing. I've been questioned by cops for sitting on benches, walking through nice neighborhoods, picking up my daughter from school in the wrong part of town. So when you approached, expensive clothes, confidence that comes with money, my first instinct was self-protection. Ainsley's face fell. God. Fletcher, I'm so sorry. I never even thought, which is privilege, isn't it? That I don't have to think about how my approach might be perceived as threatening. Yes, it is. Have you been harassed a lot? By police? Define a lot. Enough that I've taught Iris what to do if Daddy gets stopped by police. Enough that I'm always aware of how I'm perceived. Enough that spontaneous pizza with a stranger feels risky because if someone calls the cops saying I'm bothering you, I'm the one who gets hurt. Ainsley was quiet for a long moment. I hate that. I hate that you have to live with that fear. And Fletcher, for what it's worth, if anyone calls the police on you while you're with me, I'll make their life a legal nightmare. I have lawyers on retainer who specialize in civil rights violations. Fletcher couldn't help but laugh. That's very billionaire of you. Threatening lawsuits as comfort. I'm serious. I might be rich and privileged and oblivious to a lot of things, but I'm learning. And one thing I've learned is that money is useless if you don't use it to protect people who need protecting. How did you get so rich anyway? You're young for a billionaire. I'm 38. And I got rich by being smarter than the men who tried to keep me out of tech, more ruthless than the investors who thought a woman couldn't lead a major company, and more willing to take risks than anyone else. I built Thorn Industries from a startup in my garage to a Fortune 500 company in 12 years. That's impressive. It's also isolating. Fletcher, I've sacrificed every relationship, every friendship, every moment of normalcy for success. And now, I'm sitting here eating pizza with a stranger and his daughter because I literally don't know how else to connect with people. Why me? Why today? Honestly, because you looked happy. You were drawing your daughter, completely absorbed, completely present. I haven't felt present in years. I wanted to be near someone who remembered how. Fletcher studied her. This powerful, lonely woman who ran a billion-dollar company but didn't know how to have a normal conversation. Can I give you some unsolicited advice? Please. Stop leading with your money. Stop mentioning you're a billionaire CEO. Just be Ainsley, the person who likes people watching and apparently has a therapist and wanted to feed ducks. But my company is who I am. No, it's what you do. Who you are is the woman who noticed a limping duck and a father drawing his daughter. That person is interesting. The CEO is intimidating. Ainsley smiled, soft, genuine, transforming her face. You're wise, Fletcher Wade. I'm broke, actually, but I'm working on wise. Broke is temporary. Wise is forever. She paused. Can I see your drawings? The ones you were working on? Fletcher hesitated, then pulled out his sketch pad. His art was personal. Designs for clients, but also personal sketches of Iris, of Portland streets, of moments that moved him. Ainsley flipped through the pages slowly, her expression growing more amazed. Fletcher, these are incredible. The detail, the emotion. You're really talented. Talented doesn't pay bills. It should. What's your rate for design work? Why? You need a logo? Actually, yes. Thorn Industries is rebranding. Our current corporate identity is cold, generic. I want something with soul, something human. She met his eyes. I want to hire you. Not because I feel sorry for you, but because you're clearly gifted. Standard corporate rate, $50,000 for a full brand identity package. Fletcher's heart stopped. $50,000? That's actually low for corporate work, but I'm guessing you don't usually work with Fortune 500 companies? I usually work with local businesses who can barely afford $5,000. Then this is a step up. Fletcher, I'm serious. I need a designer who understands connection, emotion, humanity. Your work shows all of that. Will you take the job? Fletcher's mind raced. $50,000 would change his life. Cover rent for a year, build savings, let him be selective about contracts so he could spend more time with Iris. But accepting felt like accepting charity, like being the good cause wealthy white people took on to feel better about themselves. I'll think about it, Fletcher said carefully. Fair. Think about it. No pressure. But Fletcher, this is a legitimate offer. Your talent, my need. Nothing charitable about it. Except you met me 2 hours ago in a park. So, best business decisions are often made outside boardrooms. Iris returned, chocolate shake in hand. Daddy, Ainsley is nice. Can she come see Mr. Quackers again? That's up to Ainsley, baby girl. She's very busy. I'd love to, Ainsley said immediately. When are you going back to the park? We go every Wednesday afternoon, Iris said. After my art class with Ms. Lennox Hayes, Daddy says it's quality time. Then I'll be there. If that's okay with your dad? Fletcher looked at this strange woman who disrupted his afternoon. Lonely billionaire seeking connection, offering business opportunities, genuinely seeming to enjoy time with his daughter. He should be suspicious, should protect himself, should recognize this might end badly. But Iris was smiling, and Ainsley looked hopeful, and Fletcher was tired of always being guarded. Okay, Wednesday, same bench. But Ainsley, if this is some weird social experiment or you're just bored and slumming it with regular people, tell me now. I can handle honesty. I can't handle being a project. You're not a project. You're a person I find interesting. And that's incredibly rare in my life. She stood to leave, pulling out a business card. My personal number. Text me if you decide about the design work, or if you just want to talk, or if you never want to see me again and you're being polite. I'll respect whatever you choose. After she left, her driver Thorne Kelly had been waiting outside the entire time. Iris looked at Fletcher with knowing eyes. She's pretty, and she likes you. Baby girl, she's just being nice. Nah, She kept looking at you the way people look in movies when they like someone. You're 7. What do you know about movies and liking people? I'm very smart for 7. Iris grinned. Are you going to work for her? Maybe. I don't know. But as Fletcher walked Iris home, he kept thinking about Ainsley's loneliness, her genuine interest in his art, the way she'd listened to Iris without that patronizing tone adults often used with children. He thought about her vulnerability, admitting her isolation, asking for connection, being honest about her mental state. And he thought about $50,000, about financial security, about opportunities he'd never imagined. That night, after putting Iris to bed, Fletcher called his best friend, Ronan Ellis. Dude, you are not going to believe what happened today. Ronan's response was immediate and skeptical. Bro, this sounds like a setup. Rich white woman randomly approaches you in a park, wants to hire you for 50 grand? That's suspicious as hell. That's what I thought initially. But Ronan, she seemed genuine, lonely. Like actually lonely, not performing loneliness. And you believed her? Fletcher, rich people are professional performers. They don't survive in those circles by being genuine. Fletcher sighed. His friend wasn't wrong to be cautious. Ronan was a civil rights attorney who'd seen enough wealthy white people weaponize kindness against black folks to be permanently suspicious. I'm not naive. I know this could be complicated. But Ronan, what if it's real? What if she's actually just a lonely person who happened to have money? Then she's a unicorn. Fletcher, be careful. Check her out. Research her company. See if there's any history of exploitation or discrimination. And for God's sake, get any business arrangement in writing with a lawyer reviewing it. You volunteering? Hell yes. I'm not letting some billionaire screw over my best friend. Fletcher did research that night after Iris fell asleep. Ainsley Thorne was indeed who she said she was. CEO of Thorne Industries, estimated net worth $2.3 billion, ranked as one of the 50 most powerful women in tech. Articles described her as brilliant, demanding, intensely private. Very few personal details. No scandals, no discrimination lawsuits. Clean record, actually. But the articles also painted a picture of someone isolated, unmarried, no public relationships, rarely photographed outside of business events. One profile from 3 years ago mentioned her saying, I don't have time for personal life. The company is my life. It tracked with what she'd said about loneliness. Wednesday came faster than Fletcher expected. He debated not showing up, letting the whole thing die quietly. But Iris had talked about seeing Ainsley again all week, and Fletcher couldn't bring himself to disappoint his daughter. They arrived at the park at 4 p.m. Ainsley was already there, sitting on the same bench, this time in jeans and a simple sweater. Still expensive, but less obviously so. When she saw them, her face lit up with genuine joy. You came. I was worried you wouldn't. Iris wouldn't let me bail. She's been talking about Mr. Quackers all week. Iris immediately ran to the pond, leaving Fletcher and Ainsley alone. I wasn't sure I'd see you again, Ainsley admitted. I worried I came on too strong. The job offer, the pizza, all of it. You did come on strong, but I've been thinking about it, and I want to see the project specs, the timeline, deliverables, payment structure, and I want my attorney to review any contract before I sign. Ainsley smiled. Smart. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. I'll have my team send everything over by Friday. Fletcher, this is a real job. I promise. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Iris feed ducks. Then Ainsley spoke quietly. Can I tell you something? About why I approached you that day? Sure. I'd just come from a board meeting where my investors told me I needed to humanize my brand, make Thorne Industries seem less corporate, more relatable. They suggested I get married or adopt a child or do something that made me seem normal, like I'm a brand that needs softening, not a person. That's dehumanizing. It is. And I was so angry, so tired of being seen as an asset, a brand, a thing to be managed. Then I saw you drawing your daughter, and I thought, that's what being human looks like. Not performing humanity for investors, just being present with someone you love. I wanted to be near that. Does that make sense? It does. Ainsley, can I ask you something? Anything. Why are you single? You're beautiful, successful, clearly capable of connection. What happened? Ainsley was quiet for a long moment. Honestly, I scared men away. I made more money than them. I was more successful. My ambition made them uncomfortable. I dated a few men who said they loved my drive, but what they really wanted was for me to be smaller, quieter, more manageable. When I refused, they left. Their loss. Maybe, or maybe I'm too much, too intense, too focused on work. My last boyfriend, Dashiell King, who's now my business rival, he told me I was married to my company and he couldn't compete. He was right. So you chose the company over relationships. I chose survival. Fletcher, I built Thorn Industries because I had nothing else. No family money. My parents died when I was 22. No connections. I was a woman in tech trying to break in during the early 2010s. I had my brain and my work ethic and absolute terror that I'd end up poor and invisible. The company became everything because I had nothing else. Fletcher understood that fear intimately. I get it. After my divorce, Iris became everything. My whole life revolved around keeping her, providing for her, proving I was a good father. I sacrificed friendships, career opportunities, dating, all of it, because she was all that mattered. But you seem balanced now, happy. I'm learning balance, slowly. My sister Meadow keeps telling me I need to have a life outside of being Iris's dad. But it's hard to let go of survival mode when survival mode kept you alive. Exactly. God, Fletcher, you understand? You actually understand. They sat together, two people who'd sacrificed everything for survival, finding unexpected kinship. Iris ran over, excited. Daddy, Mr. Quacker's brought friends. There's 3 ducks now. That's great, baby girl. Ainsley, do you like ducks? I'm starting to. They're growing on me. Iris beamed, then ran back to the pond. Ainsley watched her with soft eyes. She's wonderful. You're a great father. I try. It's not always easy being a single dad. People judge, especially when you're black. There's this assumption that black fathers are absent or irresponsible. I have to work twice as hard to prove I'm capable. That's exhausting. It is, but she's worth it. Ainsley's phone buzzed, her assistant Blythe calling. She declined it. Sorry, work never stops. You should take it if you need to. I need this more. Time with real people. Conversations that aren't about quarterly earnings. They talked for another hour, about everything and nothing. Ainsley asked about Fletcher's art, his influences, his dreams. Fletcher asked about her company, her innovations, what drove her. The conversation flowed naturally, comfortably, in a way that surprised them both. When Iris got tired and they had to leave, Ainsley looked genuinely sad. Same time next week? You really want to keep doing this? Park bench conversations with a broke single dad? I really do. Fletcher, you have no idea how rare it is for me to talk to someone who doesn't want something from me. You're a gift. I might want something. If the design job is real, I want that. The job is real, and wanting fair compensation for work isn't the same as wanting something from me personally. There's a difference. As Fletcher walked Iris to his car, his daughter asked, "Is Ainsley your friend now?" "Maybe. I think so." "Good. You need more friends, Daddy. You're always alone, except for me." The observation hit harder than it should have. Iris was right. Fletcher had isolated himself completely, building walls to protect against more hurt. Maybe Ainsley's loneliness wasn't so different from his own. That evening, Fletcher received an email from Blythe Cross, Ainsley's assistant, with a detailed project brief for the Thorn Industries rebrand. The scope was massive. Logo, visual identity, brand guidelines, marketing materials, payment terms, $25,000 on signing, $25,000 on completion. Timeline, 3 months. It was legitimate, professional, exactly what Ainsley had promised. Fletcher forwarded it to Ronan, who called him immediately. "This is a real contract, man. Actually favorable terms for you. She's not screwing you over. So, I should take it?" "From a legal standpoint, yes. From a personal standpoint, Fletcher, are you prepared for how complicated this might get? Working for someone you're clearly developing feelings for?" "I'm not developing feelings." "Bro, you've talked about her nonstop for 3 days. You're developing feelings. The question is whether you're ready for that." Fletcher wasn't sure he was ready, but he was sure he needed the money. And maybe, just maybe, he was ready to let someone into his carefully guarded life. He signed the contract Friday morning. The first official meeting for the Thorn Industries rebrand was scheduled at Ainsley's office, a sleek space in downtown Portland with floor-to-ceiling windows and enough minimalist furniture to make Fletcher's design sensibilities cringe. "Too corporate?" Ainsley asked, noticing his expression. "Too cold. There's no warmth, no personality. It's like the space is designed to intimidate rather than welcome." That's exactly what it is. Designed by the previous CEO to project power. I inherited it and never bothered changing it. Why not? Because I thought that's what a CEO's office should look like. Powerful, intimidating, unapproachable. She smiled slightly. I'm learning that was maybe the wrong approach. They settled in the conference room where Fletcher spread out his preliminary concepts. He'd spent 2 weeks researching Thorne Industries, understanding their technology, their market position, their values. But he'd also thought about Ainsley, the lonely woman on the park bench, the person behind the CEO mask. Current branding is sharp, angular, aggressive, Fletcher explained, showing the existing logo. It projects strength but no humanity. My proposal is to soften the edges while maintaining professionalism. Introduce warmth through color palette, blues and greens instead of stark black and silver. Create a mark that feels innovative but approachable. Ainsley studied his concepts intently. This one, she pointed to his third variation. It feels like connection, like networks linking, but also like hands reaching out. That was the idea. Technology that connects people, not just systems. It's perfect. Fletcher, this is exactly what I wanted but didn't know how to articulate. That's my job, finding visual language for concepts that are hard to express. They worked for hours, refining concepts, discussing implementation. Blythe brought lunch, actual good food, not just corporate catering. And Ainsley insisted Fletcher eat with her. You don't have to keep feeding me, Fletcher said. I like feeding you. Is that weird? A little, but I'm not complaining. This sandwich is incredible. Between bites, Ainsley asked, How's Iris? Did she see Mr. Quackers this week? She did. Apparently he's made a full recovery and has a girlfriend duck now. Iris is convinced she played matchmaker. Ainsley laughed, genuine, unguarded. I love how she sees the world. Everything has a story. Everything matters. She gets that from me. I can't look at anything without creating narratives. Show me. Show you what? Your personal work. The drawings you do just for you, not for clients. Fletcher hesitated. His personal sketchbooks were private. Observations of Portland life, portraits of Iris, moments that moved him. Sharing them felt vulnerable. But Ainsley was looking at him with such genuine interest that he found himself pulling out his phone, showing her photos of recent sketches. Fletcher, these are beautiful. This one, she pointed to a drawing of an elderly black man playing chess in a park. The emotion in his face. You captured something essential about him. That's Mr. Sutton Grant. He plays chess every Saturday in Waterfront Park. We talk sometimes. He's a retired teacher who taught for 40 years in underserved schools. I wanted to capture his dignity, his wisdom. You did. God, you're so talented. Why are you doing corporate design when you could be doing fine art? Because fine art doesn't pay bills. Corporate design keeps the lights on and food on the table. That's pragmatic but sad. That's survival. Ainsley, you come from a place where you could take risks, build a startup in your garage. I don't have that luxury. I have Iris to feed, rent to pay, an ex-wife's lawyer looking for any excuse to claim I'm unstable. Ainsley was quiet. You're right. I'm sorry. I had privilege even when I was broke. I was young, single, white, college educated. I could fail without losing a child. You can't. No, I can't. Every choice I make is filtered through, how does this affect Iris? Every risk is calculated against, could this cost me custody? It's exhausting. I can't imagine. But Fletcher, what if you didn't have to choose? What if you could do both? Commercial work for stability and personal work for fulfillment. That's the dream. But time is limited. What if you had funding? A patron? Are you offering to be my patron? Would you let me? Fletcher set down his sandwich, meeting her eyes directly. No. Ainsley, I appreciate the impulse, but I can't be your charity project. I can't be the talented, struggling artist you rescue. That dynamic would poison whatever this is between us. Whatever this is? What is this? I don't know. Friendship? Business relationship? Something more complicated? Ainsley stood, moving to the window. Fletcher, I'm attracted to you. I've been attracted to you since that first day in the park. You're talented, kind, present in ways I've never learned to be. You're an amazing father. You see the world in beautiful ways. And, yes, I'm aware of the complications, race, class, the fact that I'm technically your client. But I can't stop thinking about you. Fletcher's heart was pounding. Ainsley, you don't have to say anything. I know it's complicated. I know there are power imbalances and 1,000 reasons this is a bad idea. But I needed you to know. I'm not good at hiding my feelings, and hiding from you feels dishonest. Fletcher crossed the room to stand beside her. I'm attracted to you too. Have been since you asked to sit on that bench with such awkward honesty. But Ainsley, I'm terrified of getting hurt, of Iris getting attached to you and then you deciding this was just a phase, of people judging me for dating a white billionaire, of your world looking at me as the black guy who got lucky, of this ending badly and losing the best job opportunity I've ever had. Those are all legitimate fears, but they're not stopping me from wanting to try. If you're willing to go slow, to let this develop naturally instead of rushing, to understand that I come with a 7-year-old daughter who has to be my priority, I wouldn't want it any other way. Ainsley turned to face him fully. Fletcher, I don't want to rush. I don't want to be your patron or your charity case in reverse or anything but your equal. Can we try that? Being equals who happen to like each other. Equals where one person is a billionaire and the other is barely getting by. Equals where both people are healing from loneliness and trying to figure out connection. Money doesn't change that fundamental thing. Fletcher wanted to believe her, wanted to trust that their economic differences wouldn't matter. But he'd lived in America long enough to know that money always mattered, especially across racial lines. Still, he found himself saying, okay, let's try. But ground rules, when we're working on the rebrand, we're professional. Boundaries. No mixing business and personal during work hours. Agreed. And outside of work? Outside of work, we're two people getting to know each other. With Iris as chaperone most of the time because I can't just get babysitters whenever I want. I like Iris. She can absolutely chaperone. They shook hands formally, sealing their agreement. But the handshake lingered, became hand-holding, became Ainsley stepping closer. Can I kiss you? She asked. Or is that breaking the work hours rule? Fletcher checked his watch. Technically, it's after 5 p.m. Workday is over. Technically then. She kissed him. Soft, tentative, respectful. Fletcher responded carefully, aware of the camera in the conference room, the glass walls, the fact that Blythe was probably somewhere nearby. When they broke apart, Ainsley was smiling. I haven't kissed anyone in 3 years. I haven't kissed anyone since my divorce. We're both rusty. We'll practice. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. Their relationship developed slowly over the next month. Wednesday park visits with Iris, Friday evening dinners after work, Saturday morning coffee while Iris was at her art class with Ms. Lennox Hayes. They were careful, deliberate, building foundation before structure, but they couldn't hide forever. Portland's tech community was small, and Ainsley Thorne dating anyone was news. When they were photographed leaving a restaurant together, the speculation began immediately. The first article was relatively benign. Tech CEO Ainsley Thorne spotted with mystery man. But the comments section was vicious. Is that her driver? Why is she with the help? Must be diversity PR. She's trying to seem progressive. Gold digger alert. He's obviously after her money. She couldn't find a white guy successful enough. Had to slum it with a black man. Fletcher read the comments and felt sick. This was what he'd feared. Being reduced to stereotypes, his worth questioned, his relationship with Ainsley judged through racist lens. Ainsley called him immediately after the article dropped. Fletcher, I'm so sorry. I should have anticipated this. Should have warned you. It's not your fault people are racist. But I should have protected you better. My PR team should have gotten ahead of this. How? By hiding me? By pretending I don't exist? No. By controlling the narrative. Fletcher, let me release a statement. Let me tell our story properly. What story? That you met a random guy in a park and decided to date him? That sounds insane. The truth sounds insane. That doesn't make it less true. Fletcher talked to Ronan, who was furious on his behalf. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Fletcher, you're being painted as a stereotype before anyone knows who you are. So what do? You decide how much you're willing to endure for this relationship, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. Rich white woman, black man, people are going to have opinions, ugly ones. Fletcher also talked to his sister Meadow, who had a different perspective. Screw what people think. Are you happy? I think so. But Meadow, what about Iris? What if kids at her school say things? What if this affects her? Iris is 7. She doesn't read gossip blogs. And Fletcher, you've always taught her to be proud of who she is, to stand up against prejudice. This is a chance to model that. Show her you don't hide your life because of other people's racism. Meadow was right. Fletcher had always told Iris to be brave, to be herself. He couldn't preach that and then hide because he was scared. He called Ainsley back. Release the statement. Tell the truth. I'm not hiding. The statement Ainsley's PR team crafted was simple but powerful. I met Fletcher Wade in a park 6 weeks ago. He was drawing his daughter, and I was lonely. We talked. We connected. We started dating. He's a talented graphic designer, a devoted father, and one of the kindest people I've ever met. Our relationship is nobody's business but ours. But I'm making it public because I'm tired of hiding my happiness. Fletcher is not after my money. I'm not using him for PR. We're just two people who found each other unexpectedly. If that makes people uncomfortable, that's their problem, not ours. The response was mixed. Some people praised Ainsley's directness. Others criticized her for being defensive. But the narrative shifted slightly. From mysterious black man to Fletcher Wade, graphic designer. Fletcher's phone exploded with interview requests. He declined them all except one, a podcast interview with a black journalist, Ramona Pierce, who happened to also be Ainsley's therapist in a cosmic coincidence, who wanted to discuss interracial relationships in the age of social media. During the interview, Fletcher was honest. Dating Ainsley is complicated, not because of her, but because of how the world sees us. I'm constantly aware that people are judging our relationship through racial and economic lens, assuming I'm after her money, assuming she's making a political statement, never just seeing us as two people who like each other. How do you handle that? Ramona asked. By focusing on what's real. Ainsley and we talk about everything. Our fears, our pasts, our hopes. We're building something genuine. And if people can't see that because they're blinded by their own prejudices, that's sad for them, not for us. The interview went viral. Suddenly, Fletcher wasn't just Ainsley's black boyfriend. He was a person with thoughts, feelings, and articulate perspectives on race and relationships. But success brought new problems. Fletcher's ex-wife, Celeste, heard about the relationship and immediately filed a motion to modify custody, claiming Fletcher's unstable relationship with a billionaire created an inappropriate environment for Iris. She's using your relationship against you, Ronan explained, reviewing the filing, claiming you're exposing Iris to publicity, that you're focused on Ainsley instead of parenting, that your judgment is compromised. That's garbage. Iris loves Ainsley, and I'm more present as a father now than I was before. I know. But Fletcher, we have to take this seriously. Family court judges are unpredictable, especially when race and class dynamics are involved. The custody hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks out. Fletcher was terrified, not of losing the case. Ronan was confident they'd win, but of what it said about the system that his ex could weaponize his relationship against him. Ainsley wanted to help, offer lawyers, money, anything. Fletcher refused. This is my fight. I need to win it on my own terms. But I'm part of why you're fighting it. Celeste is using our relationship as ammunition. Let me help. Ainsley, if I let you pay for my legal defense, that proves Celeste's point, that I am dependent on you, that our relationship is inappropriate. I have to do this myself. That's pride. That's survival. Ainsley, you don't understand. Black men in family court were already assumed to be less capable parents. If I show up with billionaire-funded lawyers, I look like someone who can't manage his own life. I have to prove I'm stable, independent, capable. Ainsley backed off, but Fletcher could see it hurt her, being unable to use her resources to help someone she cared about. The custody hearing was brutal. Celeste's lawyer painted Fletcher as someone more interested in his celebrity relationship than his daughter. They brought up the articles, the photos, the public attention. Mr. Wade has thrust an innocent 7-year-old into the spotlight, the lawyer argued. His relationship with Ms. Thorne has made their family tabloid fodder. This is not appropriate environment for a child. Ronan countered brilliantly. Iris Wade is thriving. Her grades are excellent. Her teacher reports she's happy, well-adjusted, creative. The only person making this relationship a problem is Ms. Wade's mother, who is using media attention as an excuse to regain custody she voluntarily gave up 2 years ago. They called Iris's teacher, Ms. Lennox Hayes, who testified that Iris was one of the happiest, most secure children I teach. Her father is deeply involved in her education, always available, clearly prioritizes her well-being. They called Meadow, who testified about Fletcher's devotion as a father. They called Fletcher's employer before the Thorne contract, a small business owner named Sutton Grant, who praised Fletcher's work ethic and character. But the moment that changed everything was when the judge asked Fletcher directly, "Mr. Wade, Your ex-wife claims you're using your daughter to access wealth through Ms. Thorne. How do you respond? Fletcher met the judge's eyes. Your Honor, I met Ainsley Thorne by accident. I was drawing my daughter in a park. Ainsley approached us because she was lonely and we looked happy. We started dating because we genuinely like each other. My daughter has nothing to do with it, except that Ainsley respects that Iris is my priority. Any person I date would have to understand that Iris comes first. Ainsley does. That makes her a positive influence, not a negative one. And the media attention? I hate it. I never wanted to be in tabloids, but I'm not going to hide my relationship because my ex-wife is uncomfortable or because people have racist assumptions about why a black man might date a white woman. I'm teaching my daughter to be proud of who she is and who she loves. I can't teach that if I'm hiding. The judge ruled in Fletcher's favor. Full custody maintained. Celeste's motion denied. Walking out of the courthouse, Fletcher felt exhausted but vindicated. Ainsley was waiting outside. She'd respected his request not to attend the hearing, but she couldn't stay away completely. You won? I won. She hugged him tightly, not caring about the cameras that immediately started flashing. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for respecting my need to do this alone. It killed me, but I understood. That evening, with Iris asleep, Fletcher and Ainsley sat on his apartment balcony. This is going to keep happening, Fletcher said. People questioning us, judging us, using our relationship as ammunition. I know. Can you handle that? Long term? Because Ainsley, I'm falling in love with you. But I need to know you're in this for real, not just for the novelty or the challenge or whatever this represents to you. Ainsley took his hand. Fletcher, I love you. I'm in love with you. I love your art, your dedication to Iris, the way you see the world. I love that you challenge me, that you don't let me hide behind money or power. I love that you're teaching me what real connection looks like. Yes, there are complications. Yes, people will judge, but I'd rather face that with you than be safe and lonely without you. Even if it costs you professionally, your investors, your board, they might not like you dating a nobody. You're not a nobody. And if my investors have a problem, they can invest elsewhere. I built Thorne Industries. I control it. They don't control me. That's easy to say now, and I'll keep saying it. Fletcher, I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to have moments where my privilege blinds me, but I'm committed to learning, to being better, to building a life with you, if you'll have me. Fletcher kissed her, deep, committed, choosing her despite every complication. I'll have you. We'll figure out the rest together. 6 months into their relationship, Fletcher and Ainsley had found a rhythm. Weekday mornings, Fletcher worked on the Thorne Industries rebrand from his home studio. Afternoons, he picked up Iris from school and spent quality time with her. Evenings after Iris went to bed, he and Ainsley talked on the phone for hours, about work, about dreams, about the future. Weekends were for all three of them. Saturday mornings at the park with Mr. Quackers, who'd become a family tradition. Saturday afternoons, Ainsley taught Iris about technology and business. Age-appropriate lessons that fascinated his daughter. Sunday brunches at Fletcher's apartment, where they cooked together and pretended to be a normal family, because that's what they were becoming, a family. Unconventional, complicated, but real. The Thorne Industries rebrand launched to massive acclaim. Fletcher's warm, human approach to corporate identity was featured in design magazines, tech publications, even mainstream media. Fletcher Wade, the designer humanizing tech, read one headline. Job offers poured in. Corporate clients offering 6-figure contracts. Design firms wanting to hire him. Galleries interested in showing his personal work. For the first time in his life, Fletcher had options. Financial, security, professional respect, the freedom to choose projects based on passion rather than desperation. Ainsley was thrilled. You deserve this. Every bit of it. I couldn't have done it without your opportunity. You could have. Maybe not as quickly, but Fletcher, your talent would have been recognized eventually. I just accelerated the timeline. They were at Ainsley's penthouse, a space that had once been cold and corporate, but now featured Fletcher's art on the walls, Iris's drawings on the refrigerator, signs of life and love throughout. I've been thinking, Ainsley said carefully, about the future, about us. Okay. Iris is 8 in 2 months. She's at the age where she'll start understanding relationship dynamics more, understanding what it means that you and I are together. I want to do this right. I want to be in her life properly, not just as daddy's girlfriend who shows up on weekends. What are you saying? I'm saying I love you both. I want more. I want to wake up with you. I want to be there for Iris's school events. I want to be a family. Officially, publicly, completely. Fletcher's heart was pounding. Ainsley, are you asking me to move in? I'm asking you to let me be part of your life fully. Whether that means I move into your apartment, you move into my penthouse, or we find somewhere new together. I don't care about the logistics. I care about the commitment. My apartment is tiny. Your penthouse is huge. Logistically, you moving in makes no sense. Then we move into my place. Fletcher, I'm not asking you to give up your independence. I'm asking you to build something with me. What about Iris? What if she's not ready? Then we ask her. We make this decision together. They did ask Iris that weekend at the park. Ainsley put it simply. Iris, I love your dad very much. And I love you. I'd like to be part of your family officially, live with you, be there every day, be someone you can count on. How would you feel about that? Iris was quiet for a long moment, feeding Mr. Quackers thoughtfully. Then she said, Would you be my mom? The question hung in the air. Ainsley looked at Fletcher, who nodded slightly. Permission to answer honestly. I can't replace your mom, Ainsley said gently. You have a mom, even if she's not around much. But I can be someone who loves you, takes care of you, and is always there for you, like a bonus parent. Would that be okay? Will you read me stories at bedtime? Every night, if you want. Will you come to my art shows at school? I wouldn't miss them. Will you teach me about computers and business like you've been doing? As much as you want to learn. Iris considered this seriously. Then she turned to Fletcher. Daddy, do you want Ainsley to live with us? I do, baby girl. Very much. Then okay. She can live with us. But Daddy, Iris looked at him with knowing 8-year-old eyes. You should marry her. That's what people do when they love each other and want to live together. Ainsley laughed, surprised, delighted. Your daughter is wise beyond her years. She gets that from me, Fletcher said, pulling Iris into a hug. The move happened gradually. Fletcher and Iris moved into Ainsley's penthouse, but they brought their life with them. Fletcher's art, Iris's toys, the warm chaos that made a space a home. Ainsley cleared out rooms, created a studio for Fletcher and a playroom for Iris, made space for them in every way. Dashiell King, Ainsley's business rival and ex-boyfriend, made his disapproval clear at an industry event. Really, Ainsley? You're playing house with your designer? That's beneath you. What's beneath me, Dashiell, is caring about your opinion. Fletcher is my partner, in life and soon in business. We're launching a venture together. A venture? Thorn Creative, a design consultancy focused on humanizing technology brands. Fletcher's leading creative, I'm handling business strategy. Equal partners. Dashiell's expression was skeptical. You're giving half your company to someone you've known less than a year. Not Thorn Industries, a new venture. And yes, I'm giving equal partnership to someone I trust, respect, and love. Novel concept for you, I'm sure. After Dashiell left, Fletcher asked, Thorn Creative? When did we decide that? Just now. I've been thinking about it for weeks, but I wanted to surprise you. Fletcher, you've changed how I think about business, made me understand that success without humanity is hollow. I want to build something with you, something that proves business can be both profitable and ethical, both successful and humane. Equal partners? Really equal? Really equal. 50-50 ownership, shared decision-making, your name on the door. Thorn, not Thorn Wade, because I want you first. Fletcher kissed her right there in the middle of the tech conference, not caring who saw. I love you. And yes, let's build something together. Thorn Creative launched 6 months later to immediate success. Companies wanted the Thorn Industries treatment, branding that felt human, approachable, real. Fletcher hired a diverse team of designers, paying them well and treating them with respect he'd never received as a junior designer. Ainsley handled the business side with her usual brilliance, but tempered now with the humanity Fletcher had taught her. They became known as the power couple, who proved you could be successful and ethical, profitable and kind. But the best moments weren't in boardrooms or design studios. They were Saturday mornings at the park with Iris and Mr. Quackers. They were bedtime stories Ainsley read to Iris. They were lazy Sunday mornings when the three of them cooked breakfast together and laughed at Fletcher's terrible pancake flipping skills. 1 year after that first meeting on the park bench, Fletcher proposed, not with a grand gesture or public spectacle. Ainsley hated those. Instead, he proposed at the park, on the same bench where they'd met, with Iris's full participation. Ainsley Thorn, Fletcher said, kneeling in front of her while Iris held the ring box. "You asked if you could sit on this bench, and I said yes. You asked if I'd eat pizza with you, and I said yes. You asked to be part of our lives, and I said yes. Now I'm asking, will you marry me? Will you officially become the family you already are?" "Yes," Ainsley said through happy tears. 1,000 times, yes. Iris cheered, threw bread to Mr. Quackers in celebration, and declared it the best day ever. They married 6 months later in a small ceremony. Just family and close friends. No press, no spectacle, just commitment and joy. Ronan officiated. Meadow was maid of honor. Iris was flower girl and ring bearer simultaneously, taking both roles very seriously. At the reception, Sutton Grant, the chess-playing retired teacher Fletcher had sketched years ago, gave a toast. "I've watched Fletcher Wade grow from a struggling designer into a successful businessman. But more importantly, I've watched him become a man who leads with love instead of fear. Ainsley, you're gaining a man who sees the world in beautiful ways. Fletcher, you're gaining a woman who'll challenge you to be your best self. Together, you're unstoppable." Later, during their first dance, Ainsley whispered to Fletcher, "A year and a half ago, I was so lonely, I approached a stranger on a park bench. Now I have everything. How did this happen? You took a chance. You asked if you could sit. You were brave enough to admit you were lonely. You saw me as a person instead of a demographic. You chose connection over comfort. Best decision I ever made." "Same. Ainsley Wade," he used her new name deliberately. "I love you, not despite the complications, but including them, because our complicated beginning made us stronger. To complicated beginnings and beautiful middles and happily ever afters that aren't the end. Just the next chapter." They danced under the stars. Two people who'd found each other across every barrier, race, class, loneliness, fear, and built something real. And somewhere in Portland, on a park bench near a pond, Mr. Quackers waddled peacefully, having witnessed the beginning of a love story that proved sometimes the best things in life start with a simple question: "Can I sit here?"